Hello, welcome to our webinar. It's titled Soltellus Polymer for High Performing Sustainable Formulations. The webinar will be myself, John Chase. I'm the Director of Personal Care at Lygos, focusing my career on mostly formulations and applications work in the PC and cosmetic space. And our co-host is Danielle Russo, who's Technical Service Manager for home care and personal care at Acme Hardesty. Acme Hardesty is our exclusive distributor in US and Canada for Lygos for personal care ingredients. At the end, we'll have some more information on how to contact Danielle at Acme for more information and samples. So I just want to take a quick moment to talk about Lygos and our mission. For those who aren't familiar, we did get into PC last year at Suppliers Day. That was the launch of our ingredient, Soltellus. Really, our mission is to replace or find alternatives for persistent synthetic materials with biodegradable, sustainable alternatives without really sacrificing performance. With all the regulatory pressures that our companies face today and the consumer demand as well, really this is the direction that we wanted to go in, and ability to produce ingredients that our world demands. Our headquarters, our Sustainable Solutions Center, was relatively new, built last year, and still parts are getting filled in, is in Hayward, California, which is just outside of San Francisco. Lygos was actually born out of a UC Berkeley incubation type program, and we made the move to Hayward this past year. At Hayward, we do have an applications lab for home care and personal care, which we are finishing off, and our offices are located there as well. So at this time, our agenda for today's meeting, Danielle will walk you through some trends and the different social media conduits that are putting out those trends across different applications. And then we're going to talk about Soltellus and how Soltellus can improve your formulations. So with no further ado, I'll kick it over to Danielle.
Thank you, John. Share my screen here. Okay. Sorry for the delay there. Alrighty, so as John mentioned, I am with Acme Hardesty, and we are Lygos's distributor here in the US. So I am in our R&D lab, which is located right outside of Philadelphia. I work very closely with John, so between the two of us, we're happy to help with any technical questions that may arise when you're working with Soltellus or looking to gain a little bit more information. But for today, I really wanted to focus on, as John mentioned, some industry trends, and especially looking at some aspects of social media and where consumers are getting their data. So first, I just want to take a quick look at skincare. So the three main shares of information for skincare are coming from TikTok, Google searches, and Instagram. And so there is almost, an even split with TikTok and Google, right about 42%. And then slightly lower is going to be a 15% for Instagram. So what kind of products are consumers looking at? We have the biggest category going to sunscreen products. And then you can kind of see a mix of maybe certain skincare concerns, such as acne, or consumers looking for specific types of textures, say serums versus something a little thicker, moisturizers or masks, things like that. So since the number one category we saw there was sunscreen products, we're going to take just a quick deep dive here into the breakdown of those and how the shares split out on the social media platforms. So rather than TikTok having the slight advantage, for this one here, Google will have a slight advantage of the share here with 44%. TikTok is right up there as well at 39.1%. And then the Instagram share is again around 15.5%. And when we're looking at sunscreen, sun care, tanning across all three platforms, it does vary a little bit about how consumers get their information across all three platforms. So for something like Google, consumers are searching specific ingredients. So say chemical sunscreens versus the ingredients in mineral sunscreens. Certain sun care products with skincare benefits. We're definitely seeing a trend towards that hybrid approach in both makeup and sun care, containing skincare benefits to kind of get, more bang for your buck. We're also seeing Google searches that focus on more sensitive skin groups, like children, babies, things like that. Then if you look at TikTok, the driving force really here is more about textures and the application. So trying to be inventive in the sun care space, we're seeing a lot of different formulations that are maybe stick application rather than the traditional like creams or aerosol sprays. And then Instagram is really focusing on the tanning aspect for that in the sun care space. That was definitely the highest on Instagram. And then we want to focus on hair care. So for this one, the highest share goes to Instagram. So depending on what you're looking for, the breakdown does vary between skincare, sun care, and hair care, as you can see. So TikTok share is about 33%, and Google share is about 29%. So a little bit more of an even split between the three categories here. And what kind of categories are consumers looking at for hair care? So they're looking at hair care routines. That is the overwhelming majority. We're definitely seeing consumers really try to focus on a personalized hair care aspect. So consumers are understanding ingredients more, and they're also understanding their own hair care as well. So what will work for one may not work for another hair type. And so consumers are really trying to get specific on what will work best for their needs. We're also seeing a big search for hair treatments. Again, a mix of the application and then also a little bit more focused on a specific concern. And then we're also seeing searches for things like accessories and combs, brushes, things like that, all part of the hair care space. And then if we're focusing specifically on the hair care products, the majority share jumps back to Google at a 39.6%, with TikTok being at around a 37% share and Instagram coming in at 23%. So over those three platforms, what are consumers really looking at? From the Google standpoint, this is going to be a little bit more concern focused. So we're seeing a lot of searches for, a specific concern like dandruff, things like that. Consumers are going to the brands to really address specific hair care concerns. Then on TikTok, we're seeing more of a community-driven focus and more of a conversation happening with hashtags like hair growth or curly hair. It's more about finding a community with shared interests and kind of having a broader conversation there. And then Instagram is really more focused on going directly to a professional service. So whether that be the brand itself, being more transparent with, the ingredients in their formulations, or going to say like a salon expert, things like that, showcasing their products, but also their expertise. that's really where people go. Instagram is really where consumers are going to kind of get the most expertise advice in this category. So John will kind of take it into the next step and really dive into Sotellus as an ingredient. But we just wanted to touch on some of these trends so you can kind of have that in the back of your head as John talks a little bit more, and you can kind of see where Sotellus will fit into these categories and kind of how it would be kind of applied to these social media platforms.
Great. Thank you, Danielle.
Absolutely.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, you're good.
Okay,
Perfect.
thanks, Danielle.
Yeah, of
Um,
course.
so the next section, I just wanted to go through and talk about some of the benefits of Sotellus and how it can improve your formulation. It is a very versatile material. Um, Here are some of the just um, facts about the material, general overview. The inky name is sodium polyaspartate. It is anionic in nature. It's sold as a liquid, which is 35% active, so easy to work with, cold processable if needed. It's very readily water soluble. So again, no intense mixing required. It can go in with simple propeller mixing, and it's self-preserving. There's no additional preservative present as well. So in the presentation, I broke it into three different areas, three applications: hair care, surfactant systems, and skincare. So first, we're going to look at hair care, and we'll delve into wet combability. So with Sotellus, we wanted to see how it performed on wet hair, its impact on wet combability, detangling, things of that nature. So we took Sotellus, we added it to a very simple serum, hair serum, essentially just water, hydroxyethyl cellulose, and preservative. And then we used that as the base as the control. So we applied that to wet hair tresses and then proceeded to comb the hair. And you could see the Sotellus hair serum on the left compared to the control on the right. The force required to pass the comb through the hair with Sotellus was far easier, far less force required than the control. Even when we did get the comb through the hair for the control, the hair tress was still somewhat knotty and tangled. Sotellus does bring a certain lubricity. It coats the hair, reducing the friction between the hair strands and allows the comb to pass through much more easily. It does form a film as well, and this film is going to not really build up. It's very water soluble, unlike maybe some other ingredients that are used for detangling. So once we had conducted the wet combability test, we blow dried the hair and found that the Sotellus did provide a film formed on the hair, and it appeared and felt softer and smoother. Sotellus also has humectant properties as well, and well-haired, well-hydrated hair often does feel smoother, so that also added to the sensorial aspects of the hair. And then the film formed also coats the hair, smoothing the hair, which will also have an impact on shine, which we looked at next. So if you can increase or improve the surface regularity of the hair strand, this is coating the hair, having the cuticles lay flat. This allows the light to reflect more efficiently, and compared to the control, which that light will be diffused and will not reflect back as easily. We did use an indirect measurement of shine using LAB software, looking at the delta L, or lightness or luminance of the shine band that you could see here. We did get a delta L of 10 using the software. Delta L of 10 is usually perceived as a difference that people can notice. So it makes a noticeable difference on the shine of the hair. Oh, one thing I do want to mention before I proceed, If you have any questions, please put them into the question and answer section, and we will answer them at the end. So anytime you have a question, please put that in and I'll answer them. So this is just a kind of an overview of the results of a panel study, looking at wet combability, dry combability, softness, and shine. We did see the biggest difference in wet combability. That was a standout, as well as shine. Those would be the two benefits. And this is only at a 1.25% of Soltellus versus the control. This is the liquid. This is not on an active basis. So 1.25% of the actual Soltellus in the formulation. Another area that I want to talk about, which I haven't, the chelation benefits of Soltellus. So Soltellus does have carboxyl groups down the backbone of the polymer. These carboxyl groups are very good at sequestering and holding on to metal ions. So this gives Soltellus a chelation performance benefit. And one area that we're exploring now is the addition of Soltellus in during the hair coloring process, or even used as a precursor to the hair coloring process as a pre-treatment. Metal ions can build up in your hair, whether this is from products or most likely hard water that you might have in your shower. So if you're able to remove them, this is very critical, especially during the hair coloring process. Metal ions can react with the hydrogen peroxide that's present during the bleaching process. These metal ions will form free radicals. These free radicals can interfere with the disulfide bridges in the keratin, leaving your hair more damaged, where you lose elasticity and strength of your hair. And then for the actual performance of the color of the hair, the hydrogen peroxide and metal ions can also give and lead to brassy tones, especially for those with brown or light brown hair. Next, we're going to look at surfactant systems and how Soltellus can improve the overall aesthetic and sensory and performance of your surfactant system. We looked at how it impacts the lather quality, and then also the surfactant efficiency. As I mentioned before, Soltellus is a pretty good chelating ingredient because of those carboxyl groups. So this prevents the metal ions from interacting with any anionic surfactants that you might have in your product. This is important because that will kind of diminish the efficacy of your surfactant. These will form insoluble precipitants that will be left on the surface of your shower. Essentially, this is what's more commonly referred to as soap scum. Just as an aside, Soltellus is used in the home care area for reducing deposition of these types of precipitates in dish as well. So you do get a benefit with using Soltellus, especially in hard water where that becomes an issue. We also looked at the characteristics of the foam, and it did improve the richness and creaminess of the foam and lather compared to a control. It did also provide a nice slip. The overall experience for the panelists was much improved over the system that did not contain Soltellus. In this study, we only used Soltellus at 0.25%. I would recommend using it somewhere between 0.25% and 1%. I think above that, you start to kind of get diminishing returns. And foam stability, that kind of talks to, again, the surfactant efficacy with hard water. Foam stability is decreased when you do have hard water. And yes, so it does improve the foam stability. And one area that I really did like the performance when adding Soltellus to surfactant systems was the after feel. So once you've rinsed your hands, for example, this is a foaming hand soap, and dried your hands, the feeling that it left was much more conditioned, more pleasant, less stripping and dry. And again, the panelists definitely felt that as well, for an added benefit. And then lastly, I would like to talk about skincare products, lotions, creams, serums, etc., and how Soltellus can help with those when it comes to sensory, and the different aspects that it, amongst sensory, that it does improve. One area that we definitely noticed adding Sotellus in this study, again, using it at 1.25% versus a control. This is a very simple emulsion using cetyl glucoside as the main emulsifier, MCT as the sole emollient, and then essentially just preservative. And we found that the Sotellus did improve the overall sensory profile of the product. The control felt a bit draggy, especially during that transition as the product starts to absorb into your skin. There was a tacky phase and a drag that was left before a complete dry down. When looking at the Sotellus version, that tackiness and drag was mitigated. And again, that slip, that lubricity helped to stay between the parts that do provide the dragginess or tack, which is usually the emulsifier in the product. So this prohibited that dragginess to form, and it gave a much more pleasant experience. The transition was much smoother. And ultimately, after the product was completely absorbed and dry, going back, the film that was formed on the skin by the Sotellus was very pleasant and almost powder-like. One thing that we're currently looking at is the moisturization to quantify the moisturization, skin hydration, and transepidermal water loss. So we will share that information as soon as it is available. Sodium polyaspartate is known to be a good humectant, and with its film forming properties, I anticipate that it will be able to help reduce any water loss as well. Another area that I was looking to explore, this is something that we're working with an outside testing facility on currently, is anti-pollution using Sotellus, because it is a physical film former, so it can act as a physical barrier on the skin, helping to reduce the penetration and adherence of certain pollutants like dust and particulate matter on the skin, and any metal ions that are present as well. And if there is a deposition of the metal ions in the particulate matter pollution, Sotellus being a good chelator, it would be able to hold on to those metal ions, preventing any further penetration or interference or interaction with the skin. And then you shower, and you can wash those pollutants and particulate matter off, leaving your body feeling cleaner and refreshed. So we'll keep you up to date on those as well. So this does conclude the benefits of Sotellus. For more information regarding Sotellus, please visit our website at lygos.com, where we have formulation examples and cell sheets, etc. And for any sample requests or to set up additional time to talk about your project, please contact Danielle Russo, and here's her contact information. And if you have any questions, we'll go through those now. Thank you.
There were a couple of questions.
Okay, great.
The crowd. One is Soltellus REACH certified?
Yes, it is REACH certified. Yep.
Great. And are there any other applications you are exploring outside of what you shared on the call today?
Oh, yeah. So we just recently posted a blog on the benefits of Soltellus for shaving creams and shaving in general, with an additional formulation that we posted as well. And we're also looking at sunscreens and how Soltellus can benefit sunscreens, both from a skin moisturization standpoint, and obviously it always brings the chelation to the party. So you're going to get those benefits, and then looking to see if there's any impact on any potential SPF boosting. And then lastly, we're starting to explore more applications with color cosmetics, foundations in particular.
Great. Those are all the questions. Anybody else online have any questions? They can put it in the QA. We had one more. Is Soltellus NMPA registered?
I will have to check with I'll have to check with regulatory on that. And do you have the person's information? I could share that with them directly.
I do, yes.
Okay, great.
Yep. Yep, we'll capture that. And also too, we will be at Suppliers Day in early June in New York at the Javits Center. If anyone on the call, we will have a booth there. So come stop by. All right. All right. I think that's everything.
Great.
Thanks.
Thank you for everyone's time.
Thank you, everyone.